Hey friends, I hope you are well. Welcome back. Today I am gearing up for just a massive declutter and organization session of my entire home. This is something that I like to do a handful of times a year. I always find it to be such a great opportunity to simplify my space and to let go of what I no longer need or what's not adding value. So what I want to do today is just to go through my home room by room. We'll begin with decluttering what we are ready to let go of. Then I want to organize what's left over. I think the last time I did one of these was back in June, so my space could definitely use a bit of simplifying today. So I think I want to begin in the kitchen. So let's head over there now. Get to decluttering. Well, welcome to our kitchen. I wanted to get started with decluttering in here first because the kitchen truly is the heart of the home. During the holidays especially, it is one of the most frequently used spaces in our places of dwelling. So it's absolutely vital that our kitchens are both practical and uncluttered. So what I want to focus on doing in here is just going through all of our drawers and all of our cabinets. I want to ask myself the question, when was the last time that I used this item? If I can't remember, or if it's been months or even years, those are things that I really want to strongly consider decluttering. So why don't we go ahead and get started now, really focusing on that question of when was the last time I used it. And as we go through our drawers and our cabinets, I'll walk you through what I'm choosing to let go of. So literally in the very first drawer I opened, I already found a pretty large item that I want to try fixing first, but if I'm not able to fix it, I want to declutter and to replace it. And that's our utensils organizer. It's currently broken in multiple places, and so I think what I want to do is try using super glue to fix it, because currently it just jangles everything around and gets a bit warped whenever you open or close the drawer. And if that doesn't work, we'll go ahead and just get rid of this one and purchase a new one. But if possible, with broken items, I definitely try to fix them first, especially if it's an easy, simple solution like this. Well, I just finished going through all of the drawers and cabinets in our island and did find a handful of things to let go of. Probably the first of which is this really beautiful black vase. It makes me a little bit sad to be letting go of this because I love the color, the texture of it. But what I've just found is that practically, I haven't really used it or reached for it all that often because I find that just the shape of it is a little bit hard to style with, and it isn't watertight, so I can't just like pop a thing of flowers in here. So I'm gonna try passing this on to someone else who hopefully will get a lot more use out of it than I did, because it really is beautiful. I would love for it to go to a good home. Also going to be letting go of this vase, which again, I just haven't found myself reaching for. This is kind of an interesting one. I'm going to be letting go of our Unity candle. This is the candle that we used at our wedding, and I've held on to this 7 years, I guess, since we got married, and you can tell we barely used it. I think we probably used it for our actual wedding ceremony, maybe once or twice in our first year of marriage, but for the most part, this has just been collecting dust. I've held on to it for sentimental reasons, and I really feel like now is the time that I'm finally ready, just emotionally, to let go of it. And yeah, I have a lot of other things that are much more like cherished memories about our wedding at this point. I feel like the Unity candle is just one of those things that it's time and I'm ready to move on from. And then just a couple of other items. I have an empty reed diffuser here that we really enjoyed but have fully used up. A pen that doesn't work, a stainless steel straw. I just prefer the glass ones. And then I have a pair of tongs. I think these were from like a catering order or something. And then my old pair of AirPods. I got a new pair for my birthday, which I've been absolutely loving. It's just time to let go of these. So off to a good start, but now let's turn our attention to this side of the kitchen. Well, doesn't that just look so much better? All of our medicine now fits down here. We just have some backup water filters there. So lots and lots of things that we found here in the kitchen. I guess let's just get started with the largest category. Something that I like to do as I'm decluttering is just to see what I can learn from the things that I'm choosing to let go of, to see if there's basically just habits or patterns that I can avoid repeating in the future so that I'm not just continually decluttering the same items. However, this is one that I'm not sure I can control. Something that I recently discovered is that my husband just loves holding on to empty boxes. So we're just going to be breaking down and recycling those. I think there's like 4 or 5 from various electronics he's received that he had just stuck in our medicine cabinet. So yeah, definitely don't need those. We also have some expired medication that I'm going to be letting go of. A bunch of Halloween candy, and I actually think that this might be Christmas candy from last year, so definitely be letting go of that because I'm sure that is stale by this point. I also have a couple of mugs, so I have 1, 2, 3 mugs that we will for sure be letting go of, and then I have to ask Christopher about this one because that one is definitely more his than mine, and I don't make decluttering decisions for him. That's the kind of thing that we want to make a joint decision on. But at least 3 mugs because I have just gotten a handful of them in the past year. Actually, I think it's just 1, but still, I just feel like I have more mugs than I need at the moment. So going to be letting go of just a couple. I still have quite a few because I will very frequently make tea, not only for myself, but for lots of our friends when they come to visit. So I do like to have a handful, but yeah, just want to reduce the collection a tiny bit. And I also have a few different types of tea here that I tried and just wasn't my favorite. So going to try passing those on to a friend. I have some empty sample containers here, a tray that I used for years, honestly, but I just haven't used probably in the past year. And so I just think that my style has changed, honestly. Don't see myself using it a ton going forward. So going to let go of that. I have a little food storage container here that the lid of it is actually bamboo. We've had this for a while. It's starting to split and I just don't want to have to worry about getting like a splinter that I'm eating or anything. That sounds miserable. So just going to declutter that before it becomes a problem. And then last thing here, I think, is just a crock pot, pot, I guess, that we actually, a friend gave us dinner in that, and so I just want to return it to them. So that's not really decluttering, but I want to put that by the door or in the car so that I remember to get it back. So here's just a little overview. Lots we're letting go of here. Now I want to finish off our kitchen with going through our pantry. And I did actually go through and declutter our pantry not too long ago, so I think the main thing that I want to do right now is just touch up the organization. I feel like because the pantry is just one of those really high use spots in our homes, kind of needs a bit more attention than other areas. So I want to do that, but of course, as we go through and as we organize, I will definitely be checking expiration dates and things like that to see if there's anything we can let go of. So this is looking a whole lot better. We were able to restock several of our dried goods, clean up the space. We do have a bit more right now just because I feel like around the holidays I like to have a few more essentials on hand as well as snacks, things like that. We do a lot of hosting at this time of year, but this is so much more organized and it's going to be just a lot more functional over the next few weeks and months. And as for what we're letting go of in the pantry, a lot of it is empty packaging for different things that we were able to condense, which I always love. But then I do have a handful of items that have gone stale, that are past their prime. This beef jerky has mold on it, so definitely don't want to be consuming that. And then there are just a couple items here too that I just don't really see us actually using. So that is the majority of what we're letting go of for the pantry. Now I want to tackle our dining room and living room. So I'm not going to try moving this because you can see how massive it is, but I'm going to be passing on this beautiful bird of paradise plant to a friend. As we're preparing for a baby, I'm just realizing that I have a lot of plants and I don't know that I'm going to have the time or the energy or even desire to care for them all well. So decided to rehome this one. She's going to a friend and I'm kind of sad to be losing just such a beautiful plant. It adds a lot to the space, but ultimately I think it's just going to be too much work as we enter this new season of parenthood. And a handful of things here in the living room, the first of which is 2 PS4 games, which I think Christopher played, but I don't think I've seen him play them in at least 2, maybe 3 years. So I'm going to ask him, but I feel like we'll probably be able to move on from these. And then I also have a puzzle. This is a 4+35 piece puzzle, which obviously, I mean, you can see I've got a 1,000-piece puzzle behind me. It's a little bit below Christopher and I's puzzle skill level, so probably going to try passing this on to a friend with kids or something like that. And then I have 2 throw pillows here, which I actually bought these covers several years ago to cover other throw pillows that I wasn't as big on the design of the fabric of them. And so honestly, I'm kind of conflicted at this point. I could just swap out these covers because at this point they're pretty stained and just not as comfortable as they used to be. But I'm also kind of thinking of just taking apart this pillow and using it to add a bit of extra stuffing to a few of the throw pillows that we have currently that we prefer. It's kind of what I'm leaning towards doing because at this point, like, they don't look that good. They aren't that comfortable. And so because of that, we just never really reach for them. So going to be probably trying to use the stuffing from these so that it isn't fully going to waste, but generally moving on from those. I also have this little case, I guess, that's supposed to hold 3 of the books in the Percy Jackson series, which we have the entire series, and the funny thing is it's a 5-book series, so I really just don't see the point in holding on to a case for 3 of the books when there's 5 and we have all 5. I'll probably just store them all separately because that just doesn't make sense to me. So yeah, probably just going to recycle that. And then the last thing, honestly, we'll see, but I'm thinking pretty heavily about letting go of these shoes. These are the shoes that I wore at our wedding, and I think I'm just realizing that there's a lot of sentimental things that I've held onto from our wedding, and while I definitely want to keep some of them, I don't feel like I need to keep all of them. So these are currently, as I'm holding them up, I'm going back and forth. We'll see if I actually end up letting go of them or not. I think that the big thing for me is I would want them to go to a good home if I were to declutter them. So maybe I'll see if there's somebody who would be able to love and use them. And if that's the case, I'll pass them on. But yeah, there's something that feels kind of wrong about just like donating them to a Goodwill. So we'll see on this, but leaning towards decluttering. Everything else I'm pretty confident in, but that's the one item still working through. I mean, and that's the thing too, is that I feel like sometimes people watch my videos and it's like, oh, you make decluttering look so easy. This right here, here's proof. It's not always easy. There are tough decisions, and you know, I feel like this is one of those things that were I to let go of them, I probably wouldn't miss them. But it is important to me that I'm not just like feeling like I'm throwing them out, because you know, obviously my wedding day was a cherished memory. So yeah, just know that there is conflict, and sometimes you make a decision, you change your mind, like that happens. I think that the thing is you just want to be really careful that you're not doing that with everything and reserving it for, you know, the special items. Oh, I just dropped it. So now let's take a minute to tackle the bedroom, and we don't keep too much in here. I feel like it's always worth going through. So I actually found more here in the bedroom than I was expecting to. So a few things that I found that I want to declutter are, number 1, my Halloween costume from this year. This is a little butterfly costume I wore that was really cute, and I actually was originally planning on just keeping it, using it other years, but the more I thought about it, the more I realized like we have a little baby on the way, which is so exciting, and I feel like, you know, with having a newborn, we're probably going to want to do family Halloween costumes for the next several years. So I just don't know when the next time is that I would actually use this. So because of that, I think I'm just going to let go of it. I just feel like it's one of those things that would end up sitting in my dresser drawer for potentially years without ever being touched. So I'm going to donate that. Then I also found a bit of jewelry. We have a couple pairs of earrings here that either it's been a really long time since I've worn, or I've actually never worn them. So going to pass those along. I also have 2 empty makeup products. This is my moisturizer and concealer, and I can sometimes be guilty of just keeping empty products in my makeup drawer and literally buying a replacement without ever getting rid of the empty product. So here is me getting rid of the empties, and I will definitely be repurchasing both of those. They are everyday essentials for me, but I just want to make sure that I'm not holding on to empty containers, because sometimes I just forget about them. And then the last thing that I'm going to be decluttering here in the bedroom is my old Apple Watch. And this is really the same situation that I had with the AirPods I showed you earlier, where I got a newer version of the Apple Watch, which is so great, love it, but I never got around to either selling, donating, whatever, this particular watch. And Honestly, the reason why I think that this keeps happening, and this is another one of those good lessons to learn, that I'm just trying to analyze why this keeps happening to me, is that I know that with things like this, where it does have a higher monetary value, like that's typically something that I would like to sell, but I just don't want to go to the hassle of actually selling it. So I think what I need to do for myself is to, when I receive a new electronic, maybe give myself a deadline of, okay, you have the next month to sell this item, and if you don't list it and sell the item within that month, then you have to give it away or donate it. I think that's what I need to do, because this is something that keeps happening to me, where I'll hold on to old electronics just because I don't want to go to the effort of selling them, but I feel like because they have value, I shouldn't just, you know, like give them away or anything like that. So, yeah, I think that that's what I need to do. I'm sure I'm not the only one who is guilty of that. So, got the watch band there that I'm going to be selling or donating in the next month. And then I also have 2 extra watch bands for it. So now let's tackle our bathroom, see what we might be able to let go of here. So I found a good number of things to declutter here in the bathroom. Couple of them being, first was this glass canister, which I love the look of. The amber color is super pretty, but you can see a lot of that amber color has kind of scratched off. And so it just doesn't look the way that it used to. Kind of looks a bit worse for wear, so decided to let go of that. And then this one's super disgusting. So this is our old toothbrush holder, but you can see there's mold growing on the bottom of that, which is super nasty, not something that we want to have here in the bathroom. So I'm going to be getting rid of that, and I actually already bought the replacement right here for it. We have a beautiful new toothbrush holder, so I'm going to get rid of the old one. Also have a couple of nail files that are just worn out, a pair of nail clippers that are just like not very good, so I always end up using our other pair, so we're just gonna keep that pair, get rid of this one. Got a couple just like pieces of trash, empty products, a scrunchie that just no longer holds up my hair because we got it cut short, which honestly I've been loving the shorter hair, but I just don't need some of the accessories anymore that are involved when you have longer hair. And then just 2 other things in here. I have a set of ovulation strips that honestly, the box is still mostly full, but the problem is that these actually expire kind of like mid next year, which is definitely before we're going to be wanting to try 4 more children. We're due in April, which is so exciting, but yeah, I'm just not going to need them right after we give birth, so I just don't see the point in holding on to them when there's just not a realistic possibility that I'll end up using them. Then the last thing that we're going to be letting go of here is this sheet set, and I am going to wash it just to make sure that it's nice and clean before we donate it, but we have 2 other sheet sets in addition to the one that's currently on our bed, which we use whenever we have company. And honestly, that makes sense because our kind of current setup allows us to have a maximum of 4 other guests, so 2 queen setups. And so this one just never ends up getting used. And because of that, I just don't see the point in, you know, keeping a whatever 4th sheet set. Like, there's just never going to be an opportunity when we would use it. So we'll donate that, and I think that's pretty much it for the bathroom. I think the last two big areas that I want to tackle today are closet and entryway, but let's do this first. So obviously being pregnant, I'm in a bit of a funny place with my closet at the moment because on one hand, there are a lot of clothing items in here that just no longer fit me, and it can be really frustrating trying to get ready and just not knowing what I have that I can actually wear at this point. Like, I'm 21 weeks along right now. My bump has definitely gotten to the point where I don't fit the majority of my jeans, pants, and even a lot of shirts are getting too small for me. And so I think what I want to do is basically just to try on my clothing today, see what I have that still fits me. Obviously, we'll keep that in here. But then I also want to just pull out the things that don't fit me. And obviously, I don't want to get rid of clothing that I'm probably going to fit a year from now. But if I'm not going to fit them for the next 6 months, the next 9 months, you know, often our bodies take a bit of time after we deliver our children to get back to our regular size. And I don't want to have those clothing items just like taking space, especially mental space in my closet, as I have to just go to that extra effort every time I'm getting ready of figuring out, okay, what do I have here that actually fits me? So what I want to do right now is basically just try on a lot of the clothing that I have questions about, see what fits, see what doesn't, and we'll just store and put away for a period of time whatever doesn't fit. I think the big thing that I want to spend time going through is my jeans and other pairs of pants, but we will also take a quick look at my shirts as well. So let's get to that now, try some stuff on, and see what we find. That's going to be a no. Can't get it up past, not even to my belly button. So these, I'll probably get a couple more weeks out of. I think these are a little too constricting. Another pair that won't zip. Oh, I can't even get them an inch. And no, I think these are a no. So I found a ton of clothing and pants that just no longer fit me. I think I'm down now to one pair of jeans that should last for quite a while because they're maternity jeans. A really sweet friend gave them to me not too long ago. And then I have 2 more pairs of jeans that I think fit me now, but probably won't, say 2 weeks from now. So probably going to need to do either some thrift shopping or something like that for some maternity pants sometime in the near future. And then I also found a number of tops that don't fit me anymore. Just they're a little bit tighter, and as my stomach grows, they just don't cover everything up. So going to be putting all of these away, and then wait, let me put these down. I did also find just a couple pieces of clothing that I think that I am going to donate or pass on to a friend because I just feel like style-wise they don't quite fit like the stage of life that I'm entering into, or they're just something that I don't see myself wearing a ton in the upcoming couple of years. So going to let go of those, but then all of those things that just don't fit me, we'll put them away. Hopefully sometime next year we'll be able to pull them out again. But it does make me really happy that now when I open up my drawers, when I look in my closet, I'm surrounded by only things that still fit me. Actually, you know what? I say that and I totally miss this. There's no way that covers anything up these days. Add that to the pile. So let's finish strong here in the entryway, and in this space there are really 2 big things that I want to tackle, which really are the only 2 things that we have in here. Number 1 though is the closet, and in here I want to go through all of our shoes, coats as well as some seasonal bits that we have at the top of the closet. So I want to go through all of that, and then I also want to go through our sideboard, which is often a place that tends to collect things that we just don't know where to put anywhere else, or things that we are waiting to give to other people. So I just want to go through those spaces, tidy them up. I know our shoes especially could use a bit of love in the organization department. We'll see if there's anything we want to let go of. Found just a few things in the closet that I'm wanting to let go of. The first of which is this pair of hiking boots. And I don't know if you can see, but the heel of these things is just completely detaching from the main boot. So it's definitely time to move on from these. And I do actually have a pair of hiking boots that I prefer. So I feel like we can easily let go of these at this point. Put those down. And then I also have another pair of sandals that, again, the heel is just completely busted on these. It's a pair of Birkenstocks that I've had for years now. And I keep telling myself that I'm going to replace them, but I think we've just gotten to a point where it's no longer a want to, this is a need to. When I walk in them now, it's like there's so little distance between my heel and the surface that I'm walking on, and it just kind of makes my steps feel funny. So definitely time to replace those. I have one single random like right foot insole, but I can't find the left foot one, so don't need to keep that anymore. And then I have a little day pack, but I do actually have one that's very similar to this, so just don't see the need in holding on to a duplicate. We'll probably try passing this on though, because it is in great condition. And then the last thing that I'll be letting go of is this little pashmina style scarf, which I wore to a wedding recently. Actually, I was given it at the wedding because it was quite cold, but while it was beautiful and very practical and warm for the day of the wedding, I just don't really see myself using it again. It's not really a color that I own a ton of, and so I think because of that, I'm just going to let go of it, hopefully pass it on to someone else who can get use from it. Now let's finish off with going through our sideboard. I want to go through each of the compartments individually, organize each of them, and then I'm actually just going to ignore this, but this, I've actually told you guys before about our Buy Nothing group, and this is my little box of goodies of things that I need to pass on to friends who have just claimed the various items. That Buy Nothing group really has been just such an amazing resource for helping me to find good homes for items that I might not be able to donate at a traditional donation center, but that are still, in good condition, perfectly usable. There's a lot of like products that I tried that didn't work out for me that are personal care related. I've been able to find good homes for all the items in there. So I definitely recommend, if you have maybe, considered starting one before, get a group of friends together, start a Buy Nothing group. It's been such a great experience for us. That wraps up our final space, and in here I found a number of things that just didn't belong, so I have a small pile of things that I just need to scatter about the house wherever they do belong, but there were also a number of things that I found that we want to declutter. So just a couple of random things. I have a running armband that is pretty worn out. My phone just started falling out of it, and so I actually replaced the running band. However, I never got rid of the old one, so need to do that. Also found these like sleeves for coins. A couple of years ago, we condensed Christopher's pretty extensive coin collection, and he was actually able to purchase a pretty large Lego set, something he's into, with the money that he'd kind of saved up from saving pennies over the years, which is really cute. But I have a lot of sleeves left over from that, so this is something I'll probably put in the Buy Nothing group, see if anybody wants that. I have a book that I own but I need to give to a friend, and then also a bag of books that I borrowed from a friend that I need to give back to her. What else do we have here? A bunch of trash. I feel like there's always a decent amount of paper clutter that makes its way into the sideboard. More trash here, things that need to go other places. Oh, and then the last big thing, I say big thing, this is pretty small, is just some little Lego pieces that, you know, we are having a son, which is so fun, but it's going to be several years before he is of the age to play with Lego. So I want to get rid of like the small individual pieces of Lego that we have, because they're a choking hazard until kids get a bit bigger. So I'm going to see if we can give these just like random miscellaneous pieces to a child, maybe at our church or something like that, who already has a bunch of Legos, just to add to their collection. And I think that's pretty much it. Oh, actually, one other thing. We have this little phone charger. We just have a couple of others that we prefer over this one, and so I feel like we don't really end up using this guy, so I think we can probably safely let go of that as well. I think that about wraps up our decluttering session, but as you can see from everything piled up behind me, we're letting go of a lot. I feel like with decluttering, it often feels like you're just letting go of a thing here and a thing there, but it really is so crazy that when you put it all together in one space like this, I feel like you can fully appreciate just how much it is that's going to be leaving your house. And I personally just love the feeling of relief, the feeling of just tidiness and cleanliness, simplicity, that I feel like, you know, getting all of this stuff out of your house does just leave in its wake. And of course, anytime I do a declutter like this, I always try to make sure that I'm being very intentional about responsibly getting rid of the items that I've chosen to declutter. So for the things that I've decided to let go of today, I really want to do a combination of selling just a couple of items, as well as doing a lot of gifting, putting in the Buy Nothing group, donating, repurposing. You saw me fix something earlier today, although we'll see how that one pans out, to be determined with that. Then I really want to use recycling and throwing things out as kind of a last resort. Yes, there are some things that we will definitely end up doing that with, because they just can't really be used beyond the point that we have, like we've gotten all of the useful life out of them. But I do like to use it as a last resort, so that whenever possible, the items that I'm letting go of can go to new homes where they can continue to live out a useful life, to be cherished, loved, and used. So I really hope that this gives you some great decluttering inspiration, ideas, motivation. Definitely, if you are considering going through and decluttering your home, use this as your sign that it's time to do a declutter, a nice sweep of your house. And I really think that you might be surprised at just how much you can find in your home to declutter. I mean, look at how much that we found today. So I hope that this was perhaps motivational for you. But as always, friends, definitely don't forget to give this video a like if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye, friends.